Then you have another town that is for the wood elves, which is really a big, a huge, tree where wood elves live on top, on all the branches and her surroundings. So that is a place of peace. So far, no drow elves have attacked that place because it's high up and it's Mother Nature, some sort of that. So it's high up, and so far there have been no attacks on this position. Then you have on the north, you have the dwarves. I'm currently still creating other settlements. I already have the Dragonborn settlement set. Still need to do the halflings, the gnomes. Also have an interesting story for the grey dwarves, the Duergar. Yeah, I'll be leaving. Disconnect. I'll be just telling the story and then we'll end, because I need to eat something. And I need to buy something to eat. So, Duergar, great dwarfs were former mountain dwarfs in my story. So, the tale is about two brothers who got the information of riches, huge riches and treasure under a mountain, and they began digging. Over time, more and more clans, mountain dwarf clans, got that information about the dwarves, about these two dwarf brothers looking for treasure and being promised a lot of treasure. So they all went to these brothers and helped them dig deeper and deeper and deeper in search of that treasure. Now they digged and digged and digged for years and centuries. They started digging for centuries, and they spent so much time in the darkness below that they slowly got mad and insane, because they all wanted treasure and the riches that they had been promised by these brothers, and these brothers had been promised these riches from someone else. So what happened is that there was a huge rebellion, and one of the brothers died, was killed, and the other one was able to flee. He's still alive, and he's going to play an important part in the history as a villain. That's what I decided now, because I think that's awesome. If one of them survived, I was initially thinking of killing them both off, but it would be better if one died and the other one survived, and be some sort of enemy there who hates everyone, basically. Those on top. But whatever, I'll still have to figure out how to write him down. Excuse me. So, these people down there became increasingly evil and insane, mad, really, because of these riches that they had been promised but never achieved to get them. So what they did is they split up. The the Grey Dwarfs split up. One part went on as nomads and is still digging through the underground tunnels, and the Grey Dwarfs are responsible for a lot of the Underdark, for a lot of these tunnels and caves. It's the work of the Grey Dwarfs, who made this in the search for the riches that they had been promised. So they've been looking and digging holes and tunnels really, really deep and really, really far. And the other half went on and settled in caves and began trading what they could get from there. So animals that they slaughtered in the Underdark, ores that they found. They also went on onto the on top surface, because they by that point they were jealous of those on the surface because okay, never mind. I thought I had heard the door ring. They had been jealous and they started hating the surface people with really disgust, and their skin became darker and darker, and they had a huge sunlight sensitivity because they spent all of their life underground. So they usually end up what the settled Grey Dwarfs end up doing is also going onto the surface and killing humans and mountain dwarves, especially mountain dwarves, because that's the most contact they have, and because of that real close connection between mountain dwarves and Grey Dwarfs, they hate each other and go up there, take slaves, bring them down into the Underdark, and let them work there, mining stuff. So a lot of these cities in Underdark are populated by slaves. So the mountain dwarves are, well, mountain dwarves of the mountain. They're really good at mining, and they also have the Mithril Hall. So that is the place, the main place in my setting of the dwarves. The place where all the dwarves know that place. Then you have the hill dwarves, which are completely different from the mountain dwarves. The hill dwarves, again, I don't know if that was the story that I set on. I don't think I went with that story. I'm not sure. I was about to do something like two dwarven brothers, and one went into the mountains and the other into the hills, but that would make no sense because how do they reproduce? So that makes no sense. But I could do a lore, some kind of, that's the myth, like with Romulus and the other dude whose name I forgot, Remus, I think. In Rome, I could do a similar story. So one went into the mountains and dig there, and the other went into the hills. Now the hill dwarfs are completely different from the mountain dwarfs. They are no miners. They are mercenaries and constructors. So because they live in the hills, they have other enemies. They are more typical of fighting giants, goblins, and all of that. And they are nomad. Most are, again, two types of people. Those who settled down in some small villages in the hills and are mostly self-sufficient. And they self-sufficient, really. They have small settlements, no big cities, only small settlements of 100 people, stone buildings. From time to time you have people from that village move around the world as priests or mercenaries or constructors, building really good stonemasons and all of this. And then at the end of their life they return to their home village and help there and provide with the riches that they have gained to the village. So these are hill dwarves, more a natural, close kindship, not for ores. They're not greedy, they're really friendly, and they're more open to people because they live on top and they have a lot of their whole society is based around letting people grow, their kids grow, and then send them out on the world for a few centuries, and then they come back and teach a new generation of kids the same crafts and the same things, and provide them the settlement itself money that they gained. Now, the same thing is with the Great Dwarfs. What I forgot to mention is that the eldest Great Dwarfs, there's still some left, a lot of them have been killed, of the eldest grey dwarves. The dwarves that still have normal mountain skin and that are still in the open world considered as mountain dwarves. There's still some alive, but a lot of them have been killed because of their kids and grandchildren who saw these elders as outsiders. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they created this, but they are outsiders because of their skin. They're not us, so they killed these people. But there's still some alive who can tell the story of how they met these brothers and how these brothers brought them into the doom that they're currently living in. The same thing is for the Dragonborn, which I brought into play with Returned Abeir and Thementer. So 2 places. One is a safe spot. Thementer is a safe spot of Dragonborn that fled from Returned Abeir. Returned Abeir itself is an island off the Sword Coast, and which is heavily populated by Dragonborn. Only Dragonborn live there, and dragons. And the dragons are usually the rulers and enslave the Dragonborn with help of other Dragonborn and other monsters. Now there have been some revolts, some dragons have been deposed, others are still ruling. So the city there, the whole place there is kind of messy and in chaos. However, some survivors have preferred leaving in fear of dragons retaliating and attacking the free provinces in Returned Abeir and bringing again slavery inside. So they went onto ships and moved towards the Sword Coast and traveled to a land where they were finally welcomed. And this land is not a land where they were welcomed, but more like, this is a plot of land, nobody lives here, this is our home now. Because Dragonborn are scary for most people, they don't know Dragonborn. Yeah, so there's some sort of scariness to the Dragonborn and some suspicion. But, so they were never really let in. Except in the Stronghold of the Nine, which is a very open and friendly and peaceful city. So there are a lot of races that live closely together and work together without any problems. So that is also really the power of the closeness. Crap, I can't pronounce that word. The power of being so close to the reason, the origin of magic and power and spells and all of that. And that's also the place. The Stronghold of the Nine is really the place where you have to be at least once in your lifetime. You have to visit at least once during your life the Stronghold of the Nine, be it for the temples or the wizard schools. These are the places where the best wizard schools are, because this is the origin where all started, and this is also where the best the temples have the most power, sort of. Yeah, they don't have single temples. In the Stronghold of the Nine, they have a huge temple for all god. For all single god, they have a huge temple with a lot of priests living in there. And you have a lot of magic schools, like some sort of towers, different towers of magic of the different schools. Except that the school of necromancy is the dark magic, is not out, but inside. So all the good magic has towers that look out, and the school of destruction of dark magic has no tower, but instead it's inside the mountain, so almost in the underground, in order to be hidden. And it's also a hidden society, so you don't really get access. If you go to the Stronghold of the Nine and you wish to learn necromancy and dark magic, they probably will kick you out. You have to ask the right people to get allowed into that secret society of dark magic in that place. Because even though it's close to the actual origin of magic, dark magic is really, really badly viewed at that place. There are other places where it's open, where it's equal rights to other schools of magic, but in that place it's really forbidden. So I may explain in a few other episodes later on a bit more about my story as it goes on, but right now I have to stop playing and stop talking because I have to A, to eat, and B, to do homework. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. So goodbye.